Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 319 is a strong bipartisan measure that deals with domestic violence using family pets. For 3 decades, research has focused on the link between domestic violence and pet abuse. This research has shown that an abusive household often contains more than one victim, and that an abuser is likely to harm an intimate partner, a dependent senior, a vulnerable child, and a domestic pet. Acknowledgement of the findings has resulted in efforts to act upon this link to protect both humans and domestic pets. Until now, very little attention has been paid to the intentional abuse of pets as a method of domestic violence. Our statutes need to include pet cruelty as a domestic violence offense when it is committed with the purpose of harming, intimidating, punishing, or coercing the human victim. Failure to do so leaves a powerful method of harm underregulated and leaves the significant abuse of both humans and their pets underpunished. Alaska, Tennessee, Indiana, Colorado, Florida, Nebraska, Nevada, Utah have already domestic pet abuse committed with the intent to terrorize vulnerable humans included in their definitions of domestic violence, and 5 more states have pending legislation. Abusers exploit the close emotional bond shared by a victim and a companion pet to inflict harm upon the human victim and use threats and actions against the pet to gain compliance or control over a vulnerable human. 65% of domestic violence goes unreported. 1 out of every 3 have been or will be victims of domestic violence. 85% of the women say that there was ongoing animal abuse during this time. The depth of the relationship between the human and the pet enables the relationship to be exploited as a method of harm, terror, and control. The human victim becomes exceptionally reliant on the pet for emotional support and companionship as their only source of unconditional love. The abuse or killing of their beloved pet inflicts significant harm upon the human victim and serves as a highly effective method of establishing control and of forcing the human victim to comply with the abuser's demands. To the abuser, the importance of the pet is limited to how it can be used to inflict harm upon the human, and the human victim is ultimately the target of the pet abuse, even though the animal may be the only one initially suffering the physical harm. With that being said, I have a lot more to say, but I would just like to ask passage of House Bill 319 with no questions.